Hey, Ray Halbrook here with Livestream STL. Welcome to the Coach's Box tonight. This is going to be one of our remote quarantine editions, edition number 2 here. And we've got special guests tonight, plus our normal 5 of us. But we're going to jump right straight into these guys. And hopefully they can all still hear me. You guys hear me okay?
Yes.
Awesome. So we have Coach Steve Rissler. He's going to be down in your bottom left-hand corner helping us out tonight. He's going to be our special guest. Thanks so much for being with us, Steve. We appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah, so wanted to let you guys know also while we're doing the interviews and talking about some things, we've got some new stuff going on tonight. We're giving away a $25 gift card to Schnucks, courtesy of Studio 7. And what you're going to be able to do, you're going to have to like, you're going to have to share, you're going to have to comment with a question when it comes to question and answer time. We've got questions toward the end of our hour here, and we'll open that up. Matt Schutte will have that for us when the time comes. But we wanted to just jump in here real quick with Steve Rissler real quick. I just want to ask, maybe some basic questions. I know we've covered you 3 games in the last couple years, and we wanted to just ask, I remember we were kind of briefing you a little bit before the show here. This is your 8th season out at Licking, is that correct?
Yep, this is my 8th year. Yep, came here in 2013 season.
Awesome. And so with that being said, we've seen some success out of you guys the last couple years here, but I'm sure we don't know the whole entire story of how you got where you're at. But how many years do you think it's taken you to get, I guess if you will, the Lady Licking Wildcats to this well-oiled machine that it has been the last couple years?
When I first got down here, I had a really good group that was already in high school. And we were a lot different than we are now. But so when I first got here, we had a bunch of talent, and we ended up winning 3 districts in a row. And then we kind of had a rebuilding year in 2016. And then these girls, like the group that just graduated, Carly and Abby and them, I think they were in 6th grade when I got here. So they're kind of, their skill set is kind of what we focused on. So what they do or don't do, I guess, is kind of either my fault, my doing, I guess.
I understand. Matt, I'm gonna give you the rest of these questions because I'm dealing with a little bit of an issue here. But I know some of the questions that we were talking about here. So take it away there, Matt.
Okay, so you had how many seniors did you have graduate this year, Coach? Or will you have graduate?
Yeah, we lost Carly, who was all-state guard, and then our big girl, Abby Moncrief, she graduated also.
So you had senior leadership taking you into the championship game this year.
Oh, definitely. On the court and off the court, Moncrief was really good in the weight room. She played, she's good at volleyball, good at track and field, and she's been to state championships several times in a row. And then Carly was the basketball first. Obviously she led all 4 years. We won 4 in a row. So, she saved her best for last too. The game against Stratford, the state championship game, she came out and gave us everything she had. So, I feel like she left her mark. She's the all-time leading scorer now by about 700 points. So, she definitely left her mark on the Licking program.
Now, are they both going on to play in college next year?
Abigail's not. She's going to be an RN, and I think she's just going to use her A+ and probably stick around here and be a nurse. And then Carly's going to play in Three Rivers. I think it's a great fit for her. She's a small-town kid. It's only about 2 hours away. Her family will be able to go and watch her. And then their coach is a guy from Alton, Alex Wigg. He's a great guy. He just took over for Jeff Walk, I believe. So I think it'll be a really good fit, and then she'll be able to be successful there. And then my dogs are barking. And move on to somewhere bigger, probably.
They probably saw what group of guys you're on the show with. They're appropriately concerned. So,
I think that on the forces outside. So
when you've got that sustained success, do you see younger people in the community coming out maybe a little more to play basketball and want to be part of that program since you've been building this up?
Yeah, definitely. I have 7th grade girls in PE and 8th grade girls. It's definitely they want to be the next group, and I think it's it started 8 years ago. Those girls, Megan Smith, Bailey Osborne, that crew, they kind of got this crew, because we won 3 districts in a row. We couldn't get past the sectional round, but it still kind of, set the table. And then, we finally got past the sectional round in 2018, and then ran into Stratford. But then the last 2 years, we've been able to just keep building. But yeah, definitely, everybody expects to win now, and it's pretty cool.
Gotcha. So you referenced the fact that you're a junior high PE teacher, and down there in Licking, so South Central Missouri. The 5 of us are small town guys, relatively speaking, but with St. Louis here relatively close by. What's been the impact in your community as we've gone through the shutdowns and everything? How's the town taking what's going on?
I mean, it's really not that different, except for the school being shut down. There's still, the grocery store is still open. Everything, the restaurants are carry out only. So I guess in that fact, that possibly it's a struggle, but I don't think it's really affected, that much. Not me anyways, but the Dollar General is still open. We have a town and country, so it's just your pretty typical small town. Still seems to be running. I still go to Sonic every morning and get my large Diet Coke. So.
There you go.
Well, you're making friends with this group. Pepsi might have been a better answer.
I've been to Sonic and Licking before.
Yeah. Pepsi might have been the better answer, though.
Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Well, I'm going to stop asking questions. I'm the one non-coaching this group. Riley, Chris, Jason, what would you like to know from Steve?
Well, Steve, I'll start with the question. What do you value as the reason why you've had success over the last 8 years that you've been there?
Well, like I said, when I first got here, I had a really good group where, the parents had put in a lot of time with this group, with the 2015 to 2014 group. And then probably about the time they graduated, we started what we call Bobcat. And it's like 2nd through 6th grade league. And I think that's really helped. Those kids the kids that started in Bobcats are now like sophomores and down. So every kid coming in that plays ball will have the opportunity, to be coached by somebody that knows what's going on, and it's school involved. So myself and the boys coach, we get to kind of have some input on what they're doing in practices and things like that. So I think that's really helped. Also, like having the small school advantage. I mean, I see every one of my players every day. I have a friend that coaches at Kickapoo, and he might not see his girls, but just during the season. And for a long time, I had every girl in an actual class. So I think that's an advantage. I have all the weights classes, so I get, I know what my girls are doing and what they aren't doing in weights and conditioning. So, but it goes back to we have a really good group of parents, on both sides that are spending a lot of time, during the winter, coaching and traveling around, playing travel tournaments. I think that's really starting to pay off on both sides.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I've got a question, and I'll jump in front of the coaches here. I guess my question is, tell us a little bit about the season this season. We saw just a brief game. One game we covered last year. This year we covered 2 for you. Tell us a little bit about how the regular season sets you up for the playoffs.
Oh yeah, we kind of came in and right off the bat we went to St. James, who is a great program. Terry Wells does a great job there. We were lucky to win. And then from there, we did graduate from it. From 19 to this season, we graduated 3 really solid role players. and I don't think people realized how important they were until they weren't there. And then we're counting on freshmen to make plays against, big time competition. So we opened with St. James, then we had the Frisco League tournament, but then we ended up going down to the Kickapoo tournament in December, and we faced like Jeff City, Kickapoo, and a team from Rogers, Arkansas. And we went 1-2, but, we had a battle, and I think that kind of, opened us up some eyes, especially the younger girls. And then we played in the Raleigh Holiday Tournament. We got to face Lutheran North, who, was still solid. Played Raleigh, who's one of the top Class 4 teams in the state. Then we went to Stratford. We played Blue Eye, who was in the Final Four in Class 2 at a neutral site. We played at Thayer, who was a point away from being in the Final Four. And as much as it sucked during, you had to wait until the end of the year to see if it would be worth it. And, I really think it helped us out, in the Saxony Lutheran game. Carly goes down second quarter, and, we'd been in that situation before. She had went down in the Raleigh game, and, in the Lutheran North game, Kylie Taylor went down and didn't play at all. So, I had a freshman step in and take her spot. So I think playing really tough competition. We finished the season with 7 losses. I feel like we could have, maybe had some, a better record, but I don't think it would have prepared us we just played as tough people as we could within a reasonable driving distance. So.
Nice. Any more questions from the coaches?
Coach, what do you tend to pride, your style? What do you want your teams to kind of be known for doing whenever, somebody watches you guys play? And, there's a lot of teams where in Southeast Missouri, where I'm from, where it's like, they play man-to-man, or they play zone, or they play matchup zone, or just that's their style. What do you tend to really kind of focus? Like, when you want people to talk about your team, what do you focus on?
We spend a lot of time shooting. We shoot a lot of three-pointers. We had a game this year where we made 17 threes early in the year. But, shooting, and then we play a kind of a passing lane 1-3-1. Kind of stole it from, Michigan with Beeline. It's kind of for whatever reason, I've been blessed to have really long, skinny guards. And we just kind of use their length, and we like to get in passing lanes. And I think it's easy to prepare. You can tell they play a 1-3-1, but until you're on the court with us and you see how long we are, and how good our instincts are at picking off passes, things like that, I think that's probably what we're known for. Is even out of a 2-3, we're still pretty long, and we end up getting out in the passing lanes, and we don't truly match up on the ball basically ever. So we're usually in the passing lanes, and then our weak side people are gapping, trying to get steals.
It's funny, though, when you said about the 17 threes, because now I can see why Coach Blair and you guys are starting to be pretty good friends, because he likes to be ball.
Yeah, I heard he likes to play up and down. We have a common friend in Ron Rhodes.
Oh,
Rhodes. Everybody knows Ron Rhodes around here. I sure do. Yep.
Yeah, I met him a couple summers ago, and we kept in touch. We talk probably every other day. So.
Good guy, very good coach, and a very good person.
Yep.
Very much. Jarvis, you're kind of quiet. I'm just saying.
That's a first.
I was just taking it all in, and we shot a lot more threes this year, and that's something I think we're going to probably do next year too. So, I really enjoyed watching his teams play, and I got to do a couple games, one 2 years ago, and then one this year, and his one guard was pretty darn good.
Yeah, that's Carly. She's a 3-time All-Stater, I guess. Yeah, 3 times. So
yeah, she was fun to watch.
Yeah,
on both ends on the floor.
Yeah, she didn't just play offense. That's what I loved about her. She played defense too. She got the top of that 1-3-1 that you ran. She was causing a lot of problems for people up there.
Oh yeah. When did we do that? Oh, that was against Saxon, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
She usually played on the wing, but she's so long. She can stand straight up and down and scratch her knees.
Wow.
I think she has a 5'11" reach and on a 5'7" frame, so she's really long arms. She has great instinct. Yeah,
that's awesome.
We're really gonna miss her.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So Matt, let's go ahead and move into some questions here and talk about some of our topics for the day, because I know a lot of coaches might be watching this that
Sure.
That might want to even weigh in on some of these things here. So go ahead.
Sure. So multiple subjects we're going to talk about this week, but we're going to start off with the classification changes for 2021. As much as we'd like to talk about what happened at the end of the boys' season, Coach Rissler, fortunately, his team was able to get their season completed. How frustrating must it be if you're on the boys' side, you didn't get to finish up? Maybe not as frustrating as not having that chance, but certainly frustrating. But looking ahead to 2021, and we don't know what's going to happen as far as when are the sports going to start, how's that all going to look. But we do have the classification change information coming in, and Coach Miller, Coach Jarvis, Coach Blair were talking about that a little bit before we got started. So what are you seeing down there? Are you guys staying the same, or are you moving up, or what's happening?
I think we're going to be a big Class 3. I think we were at 215, and I think they've got it somewhere around 240 to be the top of Class 3. But it will definitely change. I think every team in our district last year will be Class 4, except for us and Dixon. And then, I think we'll be in with like Hartville and Mansfield.
Maybe Steelville in that mix as well.
Yeah, Steelville depends on what happens with the private schools. They're like, I think Seth Collins told me they were like at 229. So, I don't know. Depending on
that's quite a ball club they have too. If you have to run into them,
return their whole starting 5. Yeah.
That starting 5 is pretty strong. So
yeah, we play them regular season too. So.
Yeah, we had a coach run into them on the girls' side this year among the group here. And, that was a buzzsaw. We caught them at regionals for a broadcast, so loaded team for them. So looking at Herky, Jason, there, and Riley, what are you expecting?
It looks like we're going to be in that 4 range, probably somewhere in the middle of that Class 4 range. Kind of some of the similar teams that we have now, minus a few. But I would say that, kind of in the mix of that being in the Class 4 in the middle somewhere.
Gotcha. So what's that going to change for you on the girls' side as far as who you guys are going to run into?
Well, it's just so very difficult to see how they're going to line it up in postseason play. I think that's going to be the underlining thing is, how far are the alignments going to be per district? Are they going to, move things around from the north south? How are they going to go about that? So I think that's going to make a big difference in how that plays out in the mix of things. Are they going to keep more local teams together, or kind of have broaden it out a little bit more, where you go travel a it? So,
well, I think. I'm sorry, I'll jump in.
Go ahead, Miller.
Sorry, Jason. If it was Schutte, it's not a big deal. But,
you got to cut me off. Yeah.
When you look at what Misha sent out to everybody and how it's kind of put out there with the 6 classes, obviously your Class 1 and your Class 6 are your outliers on how many schools will be in it. But between 2, 3, 4, and 5. They want somewhere around, 199, 96, 74 schools, and they want to try to keep the difference in the enrollment about the same, right around, two between school. The thing is when you take, like, let's say Class 2, 3, and 4, and you're starting to look at districts, like how many teams are going to be in a district, if you do the math and you have 16 district winners, you come up at about six and a half teams per district. So districts will actually be smaller sizes, kind of like what you have in Class 4 and 5 right now, but you won't have the one, the eight teams in the district like we had before. So we have a chance for having more localized districts, with schools that we have in the past because of that, because now we're actually going to have smaller number of schools and districts. Just one of those things. And again, it's all speculation at this point.
Right. Yeah, it all depends on what Misha decides to do with it. I mean, you look at the district I was in the last 2 years, it's changed drastically from a year ago to this year. So it'll be interesting to see what Misha decides to do with that, with the smaller districts, who we'll be with. I mean, I think someone like St. John's, probably someone we'll probably have to play in a district setting maybe, or something like that.
And for Coach Miller, what's this impact going to be for our school here at St. Pius X?
Well, kind of like right now, I think we're looking at being Class 3 again. But it's going to have a different look because you'll have a lot, because we'll be probably middle of the road Class 3. But the thing now with going to 6 classes, they're eliminating the multiplier for private schools. So now your raw enrollment, you don't have the 1.35 multiplier. It's actually your enrollment freshman, sophomore, and junior years, which I mean, it's going to that number drops us down a little bit, but we'll still be fairly right in the middle of, say, Class 3, middle of the road Class 3 school. But then when you have normally your Class 2s, your bigger Class 2s, those schools will be Class 3. So we'll probably see a St. Vincent or somebody like that in our district, or excuse me, not maybe in our district, but now in Class 3. And we'll also have, probably a Grandview Hillsboro, and Jefferson R7 if the numbers trend to go the same way they have.
Gotcha. And of course, like you say, it's all speculation. And I know that I can speak. One of our soccer coaches from St. Pius is on watching right now, and I know if he was here, he'd tell us that he doesn't really care which class we're in, just as long as they keep us in that same class throughout the season. After Misha had, by their own admission, a mathematical error, and they took Pius out of Class 1 and bumped him into Class 2 midway through the soccer season, which was challenging, to say the least. So, but that please note that is not a criticism of Misha in any way, shape, or form, nor am I speaking officially as high school of St. Louis Archdiocese or any affiliation thereof.
All the opinions here at Livestream STL, here at Livestream STL are not necessarily the. No, I'm just going.
That's exactly right. Steve, we'd like you to stick around for the next segment if we could.
Yeah.
We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk about which song's more disturbing, Winger's 17 or Peebo Bryson's Into the Night. We'll save that for the third segment. Second segment, we're going to talk about game planning and coaches. So we're going to break. Ray, I'll hand it over to you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and appreciate everybody sticking on here real quick for the Coach's Box, our second edition here. This is our second quarantine condition, and we appreciate everybody being on here real quick. We're going to step aside for just a quick second. We will be right back.
What you guys do for Jefferson County sports, it doesn't go unnoticed by the coaches in all sports.
Yeah,
all
I appreciate
sports.
that.
I have a lot of friends that are basketball coaches, and I've been, of course, around Jefferson County all my life and followed all kinds of sports even before I got into the coaching. So what you guys do to help promote it with the kids is unbelievable, and we appreciate you guys.
Yeah.
For you guys to take your time and what you do is awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah, well, we try, we work hard, and we think they deserve it. The kids deserve to be able to be seen, and if we can turn out kids in the community to better them, get them in college, and make them a better citizen, that's the key. And we are back here. Thanks for tuning in to the Coach's Box. We want to let you know about some of our sponsors for today. Sponsors like these guys right here.
Look at That Engraving LLC, independently owned and operated, providing services in laser and rotary engraving, as well as full color awards, trophies, plaques, medals, and premier crystal awards in various sizes, styles, shapes, and pricing. Check them out on Facebook to see all they have to offer, or give them a call at 573-598-4207.
Totally forgot that was pre-recorded there. So we're gonna go through the rest of our sponsors for today. Sponsors like Bethesda Baptist Church, General Baptist Church, and the building where Bethesda Baptist Church meets is at 910 Craig Road in Imperial, but the church is the people who continue to meet the needs and minister during this time. Bethesda is honored to sponsor tonight's show. For more information, give them a call, 636-464-7400. And I know, like my church and a lot of other churches, they're gearing up for Easter, so happy Easter to everybody. And also businesses alike, La Pachanga being one of our sponsors here. La Pachanga and Herculaneum carry out curbside and delivery all for free. Visit their Facebook page, and also you can catch them on the web at lapachangamex.com, located at 1185 Scenic Drive, number 109 in Herculaneum, Missouri. Give them a call at 636-475-4888. Vindell Services LLC and Bada Bing Classics. Love these guys. Love Vinny down there. They are a full automotive repair, collision, and classic car restoration shop. 15% discount on any repair with free pickup and delivery on your car. Located at 301 South Adams in Festus. Give them a call at 636-638-2500. You mentioned Livestream STL. They're going to give you a free disinfectant in your entire vehicle, so you can't beat that. That is a cool little deal that they're running right here. And if you're wondering, you see the particular gift card, we're going to give away a Schnucks gift card, courtesy of these folks out here at Studio 7 Salon. They're offering a 25% off all of their products during the quarantine. And you got to give Dion Lampros a call, 636-931-9300. And also, I got to throw this down here too. If you are there's your 25% off all the products, or you can also text her personally, 314-630-9172. And we appreciate Studio 7 Salon being a part of Livestream STL. And don't forget, again, this is what you have to do in order to get yourself on the list for the Schnucks gift card. Hey, $25 is $25, and you can buy quite a bit of food and whatnot for with the $25 card to Schnucks. So you got to like, you got to share, and you got to comment during our call-in. We call it the call-in, but it's actually just the comment part of our show, which will be part towards our last segment. So those are our three criteria. You got to like, share, and comment. And at the end, we'll randomly pick a winner, and I'll try to put that out on our Facebook page and let everybody know who the winner is. And then you can contact me, and we'll get your address. And Dion is either going to email it. I'm sorry, email. I can't email that. Mail it or deliver it. So there you go. So guys, we're going to pop back in here, and so far the show's going pretty well, even though we're not right next to each other.
Certainly.
That's probably why it's going well.
I like it. So we're going to go with segment 2 here. Mr. Schutte, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Ray Halbrook. So we are back here at the Coach's Box, segment 2. We've got 4 high school coaches with us. Jason Jarvis, boys coach at Herculaneum High School. Chris Miller, boys coach at St. Pius X High School. Riley Blair, not Samantha Blair, that's Riley Blair.
Yes, it is.
Women's coach at Herculaneum High School, and we're joined this week by Steve Rissler, women's coach at the highly successful Licking High School. So, gentlemen, welcome. Thank you for being here with us here in segment 2. One thing I wanted to talk about a little bit goes back to my time at Webster University when I worked there in the admissions office, helped out with athletic recruiting a little bit. Got to be friends with Coach Chris Bunch while I was there. He's a very successful coach there in the SLEAC with the Gorlock. And something he did every game, he had a set of goals. And obviously you have team goals for the year. We want to win conference. We want to go through districts, things like that. He had some pretty specific goals on a game-by-game basis for his squad that they'd go through and kind of play to those, and felt like if they achieved those goals that they would win more often than they lose. They win most of the time. So I wanted to go over those with you. And Ray, I think we've got a very fancy graphic we're going to pop up here.
I'm graphicing it up. Yes, here we go.
So, gentlemen, I just wanted to get your thoughts on these. Are these things that you use as tools with your team? Is this something that you wouldn't want to do? Is it the modified version here at the high school level? So I thought we could discuss it. So we're going to start with one of the goals, and we've got this particular graphic. This is not from Coach Bunch. This is from Mark Comstock, a longtime high school and college coach that he had published out on one of the coaching websites. So I grabbed it from him. But several goals that he lists there. And the first one, field goal percentage of 52% or higher, shooting for the game. Shooting free throws of 75% or higher. I noticed he didn't have in there 3-point field goal percentages. So two-part question for each of the coaches. One, what do you think about those percentages? And two, what about factoring the 3-point field goal into there? Jason Jarvis, we're going to start with you.
Oh, of course you are. Well, I can recite some specific games that the free throw line killed us. 10 for 21 against the conference foe in R7, and 70% is something I wish we could shoot. And I know Blair had the same problems on his team too. Free throws are a big thing. People don't think missing that one or that front end of that 1-on-1 early in the first quarter is going to matter later in the game. And free throws a big thing. And 70% would be nice. If I could shoot 70%, I'd take that from my team.
Gotcha. Coach Miller, what do you think?
Well, I mean, a lot of times I usually just write on the board, don't suck, score more points. I tend to try to keep things as easy as I can.
Gotcha.
No, I usually do write several things up there. We want to try to out-rebound the opponent. We want to limit our turnovers. A lot of times I'll say something along the lines of, especially if it's a team that I know can take care of the ball. I've had some teams that struggle with that in the past, but we want to have less than 3 or 4 turnovers a quarter, and that way, we don't ever have a really bad stretch where we're giving the ball away over and over and over again, allow a team to make a good run. And free throws are a big part. I mean, you said it to Jason about missing the front end of a 1-on-1. That's missing too. I mean, in all honesty, because you gave it up. You had a chance to have the chance for the second shot. And so my dad always told me, if you miss the front of a 1-on-1, it should be you missed 2 shots. And I've always kind of had that feeling about it. I wasn't always the best free throw shooter, so he got to tell me that quite a bit. But, I mean, I think that's really important, and it's just one of those things that gets kind of lost in the shuffle in the game.
Well, it's one of those things I think that's hard to incorporate into a practice plan too. That's free throws are something I expect my boys to do when it's not practice time. Before we're getting ready for practice, that 10 minutes maybe they should be at the free throw line, or after practice they stay a little later, work at that free throw line, and that's something I try to preach. And we got better as the year went on. But we lost. I can name a couple games right off the top of my head, R7 and Grandview, that we lost because we didn't shoot well from the free throw line. And, that 1-on-1, that's like missing 2. And it's very important that you can get to that charity stripe and knock it down.
Coach Blair, your thoughts on those shooting percentages and having those as goals?
We put that up on the board every night. We shoot a percentage. We shoot that 45% in mix with the 3-point line. So we put that up as a goal night in and night out, and then, from the free throw line, we want to be 70% or better. So, I think those are valuable numbers. When you consider from the 3-point line and adding that mix into the mix, I think that changes that 50% down a little bit, definitely. But especially the amount of 3-point shots that we do take. So I really think that that's something that we really you got to take a look at. But I think we put it up on the board every night, as the 5 goals that we have, and those 2 are one of the 5. So,
gotcha. Now, it's been great hearing from you guys. Now I want to talk to the coach that's been to the state championships here the last couple of years, so, Coach Rissler. So, what do you when you see things like a goal of shooting 50% or better, 52% or better, and then making 75% of your free throws? Those things you emphasize to your team, or do you emphasize something similar? Where are you at with that?
We keep it really simple. We try to hold people under 40 points. It's been a few years now, but we used to have a 40 and under club, and we had a bulletin board in the locker room, and every team that we would hold under 40, we would put their team name up, on the board of 40 and under club. And I think we were undefeated, so and I don't think it's maybe in boys you'd have to make it like 47 or 50, but in girls, you'd have to play pretty good defense to hold somebody under 40. And then we don't really talk about percentages, but we try to get shot attempts up. We think we're probably 33% from three as a group. So if we can get, 20 attempts up, then we're probably going to make 6 to 8. So we kind of do it that way. And then we always talk about limiting, the other team's best kid. If they average 20, then we want to hold them to 15 or 14, something like that. But we really don't talk about specific percentages.
Gotcha.
We do work on free throws in practice. We do a bunch of pressure, try to simulate the pressure of, other people counting on you and things like that with a few different drills. But it's still really hard to simulate, especially, as farther you go, the more and more pressure it is. But we try to simulate it as well we can. But, I don't think we've talked one time all year about a specific goal for percentage. We just try to keep it, hold them under 40, limit their best kid, and try to take away what they want to do. And we do deflections. I forgot about that. So
Gotcha. That's one of the things that Coach Comstock had listed. And of course, he had the luxury at the college level of having multiple people charting games and statting games and stuff. 25 or more deflections in a game, and for that 1-3-1 passing lane defense you're playing, I'm sure that's something that comes in pretty handy. So looking over the list here again, and Coach Miller, you had mentioned the turnovers, trying to limit that to a certain number. One thing that popped up on there, and I'm sure this is the case for any coach, but you want to shoot more free throws than your opponent. When I was at Webster, Coach Bunch took it to a different level in that he wanted his guys to make more free throws than the other team attempted. And I think it was based on the fact he valued guards that could get to the basket and drive to the basket, and that's going to invite fouls. Is that a kind of thing that really depends on the personnel you got on your team?
I agree, Matt, and I wish I had the opportunity to shoot more free throws than the teams I face, but it seems like most of the time when we do, they
Especially
shoot more
Perry
than us.
County. Oh, sorry.
Oh, well, I wasn't going there, but we were lucky to play St. Vincent at home this year. But it was funny that Coach Rissler was talking about keeping certain points. I always tell my team, if we can keep a team within the 50s, we're going to have a shot. But if we let a team score past the 50s, we're in trouble. I mean, everyone knew that played us. I mean, Duncan was going to score hopefully 20 or more, and then I had Moreland. And then after that, we were going to struggle to get in those high-scoring games. So our goal all the time was to keep teams in the 50s. And in boys basketball, sometimes that's pretty hard, especially when you got some weapons like Miller has over there at Pius. Oh, wait, they're all gone now. But, that's another story.
Haters gonna hate.
Yeah.
That's great.
Coach Rissler, I did have a question. I know you shoot a lot of threes, and when it comes to getting to the free throw line, I've always heard the old adage is if you shoot a lot of threes, it's hard to get to the line a lot because you're not creating as much contact when you become jump shooters.
Yeah.
How do you kind of get your kids to maybe try to get to the line a little bit more, but still try to focus on getting those 3-pointers up?
Well, we really don't shoot any mid-range. We say either layup or three. So, we do a lot of stuff in practice where we put them in situations where they have to get all the way to the rim, like they're not allowed pull up. So they have to finish at the rim, so they go and in full speed. So they have to play through contact or, be ready and take the contact and then be able to finish after. It's still hard to simulate again, but, I really don't like shooting mid-range except for maybe around the free throw line area. But, normally we go all the way to the rim or we're shooting threes. So
it's funny he brings up mid-range because I've said for years the mid-range game is gone. There's not a whole lot of kids that can hit that mid-range shot. I've been lucky. I got one kid that can shoot the mid-range, but I mean, the mid-range game is gone. I mean, that's something we said we were going to talk about next episode, so I don't want to get too much on that. But the three-pointer is such a thing that has really turned where teams are trying to shoot a lot more threes.
Yeah,
and
is there an
argument?
Is there an argument to be made that the relative disappearance of the mid-range game has also hurt free throw shooting? They're similar shots from a distance.
Nobody wants to say anything about it.
we can't tease it for next time. I mean, so we want to save that one.
It's one of those things that it gets to be such a mental deal. I watched a lot of SLU men's basketball this year. Successful season, cut short, of course, with all the quarantining. That was statistically speaking. It was statistically speaking the worst or second worst free throw shooting team in the nation. Mm-hmm. And Travis Ford, when he was a player, was one of the best free throw shooters in the country.
Well, they
was not able to teach that. So
they beat Dayton if they could shoot free throws.
Exactly.
Yep. I mean, they were awful from the free throw line.
The couple of times I watched them this year, I'm pretty sure I could have drop kicked the ball in there and made more free throws than what they did. And it was ridiculous. I'm like, these guys should be a heck of a lot better, but
Does it get to be a mental thing with the team?
Well,
almost a mental block for the whole squad.
I believe it. Yeah, I believe it's just something that kids don't practice like we used to. I mean, that was something that was drilled in us. And one of the things Coach Struberg, who coached at Festus a long time ago, he taught us when you dribble that ball over the rim, backspin, follow through. And that's what I've always told my kids at Herky. Get some type of rhythm, whatever you're going to do, something in your head and repeat it over and over and over and over again. And that's something that's hard to teach right now because, Curry's out there jacking up threes all the time, and kids want to see that or dunk. They don't want to practice the free throw. Free throw's not flashy.
Yeah.
Right.
The three ball's too sexy.
Okay.
Just saying.
Might be a true statement, Ray.
That is a true statement.
I'm looking at the list of goals. What hurts more, allowing too many offensive rebounds or not shooting the free throw well? Like if you had to choose one or the other.
Both.
I'm not gonna lie. If I had to choose, we gave up a lot of second shots because part of that's because we're not very tall. But another part of that is you got to concentrate on blocking out. That's another category kids don't want to work on too much. And in the boys' game, if you don't rebound, you limit teams to one shot, you're going to be successful. You let them take 3, 4, and 5 shots, you're in trouble. I saw that against Pius twice. So just saying.
Well, and I sat with you, Coach Jarvis. You and I sat and watched Pius play a game. The boys you were scouting, and Pius was getting a lot of offensive rebounds, and you were getting more and more frustrated because he said, we're having enough trouble keeping people out as it is, and these guys are flying in. I think Nager had 4 or 5 himself, and Boyer grabbed a couple. So, it can be a frustrating thing. So you all had some kind of consistent statements as far as like you want to look for a certain number. If you hold teams to a certain range of points, you feel good about your chances to win and things like that. I know we've got a couple people watching that coach younger kids, and obviously you're not statting a 6th grade CYC basketball game or anything like that. But are there anything?
I know some people that are, but that's okay.
there are definitely at some levels, but. What would your advice be? We talked a little bit last week about what would you like to see the young players what skill sets would you like to see them bringing in with them when they get there? What would you advise a coach to look for at that level, the fifth and sixth graders? Just like a couple basic things. Jason, you and I watched some summer league basketball last year when our daughters played, and about the only thing we looked at was we were content if we had more shots than turnovers in some of the games, and not even makes, but just shots with the kind of caliber of team we were playing. But what would you want to see a youth coach really focusing on to help these kids get better and be ready to play for you?
Well, I'm going to jump in real quick on this one. I want them to play man-to-man defense, and if you've seen our teams play, my team doesn't play man-to-man defense, but I want those kids playing man-to-man defense. I want them learning man-to-man principles. I want them to learn to slide their feet, get in front of people, and position their bodies. And at fourth, fifth grade, what good are you doing running a 2-3 zone against teams? I mean, I just think you need to run some man-to-man. Those kids need to learn those little fundamentals defensively.
Well, Coach Rissler, you talked about the success you've had with that 1-3-1. Is it important for those kids to come in with those man-to-man abilities?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I kind of stole from Coach Cheek at Skyline. Their elementary and their junior high teams are always just okay because they're playing full court man, and then when they get to high school, that's just when it starts clicking, and then you see what, the results they get. You're going to lose some games at the younger age, but in the long run, it pays off. That's kind of what I have. I've got a group in 7th grade right now they've played man their whole life, and they'll be the only team in a tournament playing man, or their people are zone pressing, or, we lost a game this year to a team that played us in 7th grade. Just don't worry about it. They won't be able to do that in high school, but yeah, playing man. And then actually, we've got our kids running a 5-out now. To kind of avoid saying, all right, you're kind of tall in 4th grade, so you're going to be a post player, so everybody handles the ball. Everybody gets a chance to do something. You're not pigeonholed into, all right, you're the point guard, you're the big, and then they don't grow anymore. So I really like 5-out and then playing half-court man at the younger grades.
So, all right, great. Coach Miller, what do you think?
I think whenever I look at the younger kids, I mean, I agree. I want kids playing man-to-man. I like that much better than them just standing around, just kind of guarding air and playing a zone. And then we touched on it last week a little bit. I mean, if kids are working on their ball handling, they're going to have a place to play. And, it doesn't matter what position you are. I mean, if you take a kid like Nager, who was a guard for a long time, and then all of a sudden he grew. Now he's got ball handling skills, and he's 6'7". So you just never know. If these kids are developing their ball handling at a young age, they can play a lot of different positions, and it's really going to help improve their game. And obviously, it makes them more useful to put in different places on the floor.
Definitely.
Coach Blair?
We do our Next Level Black Cats program that we've started about 5 years ago now, and we've really focused on 3 principles. And I know it's a very simple principle, but I think that we saw a huge success out of it. Dribbling, passing, and shooting. I tell our coaches down at that lower levels, those are the 3 things you need to focus on, and to focus on them every single day. Don't take a day where you take a day off of those 3 things. And I think that's helping our kids understand that those are the 3 most important things in the game of basketball. You got to dribble, pass, and shoot. If you can't do those 3 things, you're not going to be able to play basketball. So, I've focused those very, very hard on those 3 things. And the other thing that I kind of talk about, I have a 3-step process when it comes to playing defense. I call it high hands, low hips, and quick feet. So I tell our kids that every single day in practice when we talk about defense: high hands, low hips, quick feet. And hopefully they get that understand. They'll hear me say that a lot on the sidelines as well. So I just think trying to tell them those principles, but like I said, doing those 3 things every single day are a huge success.
I'm a little concerned Coach Rissler might have a pack of coyotes outside his house there. The dogs are pretty worked up.
The Amish people are going up to the liquor store, so.
Oh, that's awesome.
You know, with that, I'm gonna give you a little Amish joke, and then we're gonna head into the break. So what is this noise?
Oh my!
Flip plop, bang bang, flip flop. That's an Amish drive-by shooting. That's going to take us into the end of the second segment. Ray Halbrook, we're going to turn it over to you and have you talk a little bit about some of our great sponsors.
I am, and I'm glad that you're turning it over to me because look what I have to deal with now, right?
Well, I'm sure all the Amish that are tuned in are very upset right now.
Absolutely. Oh my goodness! Well, I have some information, and I want to pass this along to everybody real quick. We just opened up this week like 5 new outlets. So you catch us on Facebook, you're catching us on YouTube right now. You're also catching us on Instagram and Twitch and Periscope. We tweet on Twitter. We have a brand new Roku channel that has opened up, and it opened up actually yesterday. So if you're interested in getting the Roku information, I have it. It was given to me today. This is how it goes down. If you're interested in doing a Roku with us, log into videos.tkdssports.com, and you're going to be we've hooked up with TKDS Sports Network out of Dayton, Ohio. Great folks over there, and they're doing some extra work with us and helping us get our Roku channel up and running. So we wanted to pass that along to you. So if you miss this and you don't have a chance to write it down fast enough, stop, when we get done, rewind, and you'll see this videos.tkdssports.com. Again, you go to this, you basically click on this link, and it'll take you straight into the Roku channel and set it up. It's $4.99 a month. And when we get sports going, as soon as we go live, it breaks in the action of what's being played that's pre-recorded. So it's kind of a cool thing. So like right now, if you are on the Roku channel, like Jeff Whitener is, I know he is right now because he just got it this afternoon. Dion Lampros over at Studio 7, she got it too. They're watching this live right now on Roku, which is really cool. So if you don't have the chance to like cast your phone, and you've got a Roku, they're really cheap. It's about $30, and you hook that up, you set yourself up, and it's ready to go. So that's our information here. Videos.tkdssports.com. Check it out on Roku, and we're going to pop back up here real quick. Let's see here. Riley, you want to tell us a little bit about La Pachanga here real quick?
Sure. La Pachanga, a very great business here in Herculaneum, and I visit pretty frequently, I guess you could say.
He's a regular.
Yeah, I am definitely a regular. And Joel and his crew there at
Must
Herculaneum.
be talking about La Pachanga.
Might have heard that.
Right.
But what a great place. And I know that during this very difficult time, they're definitely putting a little bit of a struggle going on. But so if you're looking for an opportunity to maybe call in an order and have them deliver it to you or pick it up curbside, they do a great job of doing that. And they also are on their high end right now of giving away they're selling their margaritas and their daiquiris as a curbside pickup. So, visit Joel there at Herculaneum, La Pachanga. He'll treat you right, and he does a great job. And his entire staff, I tell you what, I can say that a lot. The service at La Pachanga Herculaneum is above the rest of any place else Mexican restaurant that I have ever been to in Jefferson County.
Great folks over there. Give them a call, 636-475-4888 or lapachangamex.com, located at 1185 Scenic Drive, Space 109, I guess that is, in Herculaneum. Good folks over there. And love the folks over at Vindel. Oh, you want to say something there? Go ahead.
Well, I was going to say La Pachanga, they got a good delivery driver over there, Geraldine Gears, my wife's sister. She will bring your food to you. So, they need your support.
Awesome. I'm going to go ahead here for Vindel Services LLC and Bada Bing Classics. They're a full automotive repair, collision, and classic car restoration shop. Say that about 10 times too fast, right? 15% discount on any repair for free pickup and delivery on your car, located at 301 South Adams in Festus. Give them a call at 636-638-2500. Mention Livestream STL, and you'll get a free disinfectant on your vehicle. That's Vinny over at Vindel Services LLC and Bada Bing Classics. Love those guys. They're awesome folks. And again, we thank you so much, the folks over at Studio 7 Salon. Give them a call at 636-931-9300. They are actually putting together tonight's the $25 gift certificate, and also they're running a 25% off all products. Call or text 314-630-9172. Mention us here at Livestream STL so they know they saw you on our show. You can also give them a call at 636-931-9300. And great folks over there at Studio 7 Salon, Dion Lampros, and they're not able to cut people's hair or do anything right now, but they can sell products. So that's kind of a cool thing for them. And before I go to our next commercial, I know Chris Miller. Look at that Engraving LLC. Tell us a little bit about those folks.
Well, they do anything you need to do with trophies, plaques, engraving. Do sublimation, printing, and stuff. I know they've done for a lot of the schools in the county. They service about 50 schools in southeast Missouri and St. Louis. That's in fact my parents who run it, and they do a really good job. I buy from them. If it wasn't any good, I wouldn't buy from them. That's pretty much kind of what I tell people, because I'm just like anybody else. I look for the best deal. I look for the best quality, and I can say this is completely unbiased. They go for both, and that's nice. That's just the best part. They'll beat any price, and they can usually get stuff to you sometimes within the next day. So instead of waiting for a few days to get stuff, and once it's done, it's pretty much going to be in your hands pretty soon. I know Coach Blair and Coach Jarvis have used them, so I can say that it's pretty objectively. They do a great job. I don't know too many people who can beat them.
Awesome.
I totally agree with what Chris said. His parents do a great job, and like I ordered my stuff for our basketball banquet, which I hope we get to have at some point. And,
right.
I had it two days later delivered to me personally by Chris Miller. So,
well, how about that? We didn't know that you were a delivery driver.
Yeah, they do all kinds of things, shirts, whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
They can get it done.
Awesome.
Yeah,
awesome.
I made $0 off that, just so you guys know.
Good stuff.
There is no commission or delivery fee that I make. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
One of our final sponsors tonight, Bethesda General Baptist Church. The building where Bethesda Baptist Church meets is at 910 Craig Road in Imperial. But the church is the people who continue to meet needs and minister during this time. Bethesda is honored to honor our sponsor tonight's show. For more information, give them a call, 636-464-7400. I think you guys know the pastor over here at Bethesda Baptist Church, correct?
Mr. Daly, he's watching right now.
There he is. How about that? Thank you so much, Mr. Daly. And it looks like Jason Jarvis is going back for another Coke. Riley,
vending machine?
Is it a Pepsi?
I think is what he said.
Does he got a vending machine back there? Okay, there it is. Awesome.
Hey, Ray, I got a question.
Yep.
Can we got Coach Rissler, our special guest here. Is there anybody he want to plug down there?
Yeah, absolutely.
Any restaurants or anybody down there? That
I know who you can plug. Town and Country Bank.
Town and Country Bank.
Right?
Okay. Yeah. That's Riley Gorman now.
Yeah, good
That's
man.
Our only game, actually. Yeah. Who else? All the Rennie's Pharmacy and Rennie's Tire.
Mm-hmm.
They support who else? Rippy's Barbershop.
Nice.
I don't know. Who else we got?
You mentioned Sonic earlier.
Oh yeah, Sonic.
Yeah, go to
I'm
Sonic.
trying to think who's going to help us out. Reach Trucking probably. Oh man, we have a pretty good Mexican place here too called El Carnival.
Nice.
Yeah.
So there you go, Riley. Next time you're down that way, you got to go by.
Yeah,
we have a really good barbecue place too. Oleg's. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, are we ready to go to our final segment here?
I think we are. We've got a couple questions up here.
Yeah.
First, I've been sent a clarification with Benny Mardones, who did "Into the Night," deeply disturbing song. If you listen to the lyrics, Winger, of course, did 17. We remember that. So just clarification. Danny Mardones
Here we go.
So, but that's not what we're here for. We're here for questions from the audience. So this is a new segment for us. And actually, we got a couple in here. One of them was directed for Coach Rissler, actually. And just a clarification, somebody was asking, is number 24 from Licking?
Yes.
Is she playing in college? Is that the young lady that's playing junior college ball next year? Or?
Yeah, she's going to go to Three Rivers. They gave her a great offer. Financially, it was basically impossible to turn down. She did have several other offers, like Evangel offered her full, but she's a small town kid and she didn't want to go too far away from Licking. So Poplar Bluff will be a great fit for her.
Awesome.
Gotcha. Referred to her as the 3-point queen.
She is.
The verbiage used there. So, Coach Miller, Brian Martinez has chimed in, and one of your former players there at Grandview, and he says Coach Miller has some specific game goals with a smile. So, think back to your time running that Grandview program. I know it's not always easy to remember which one it was. That's one of your 16 that you've been part of there. Thanks. Number that is. But
yeah.
With think back to that team when you had Martinez and company. What were the kind of things you were looking for out of that squad?
Remember when I said try not to suck? Yeah, that might have been something I wrote on the board that time.
Nice.
Give Kobe the ball. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, no, you're not.
Well, there's a lot of times. Kobe needs to be able to facilitate a little bit. He was a good player. But a lot of the same stuff is the same stuff I've said. Make sure we win the battle on the boards. Let's limit our turnovers. A lot of times I say we got to win the third quarter because I really, really think that's very important. Sometimes we won the third quarter and lost every other quarter, and we still lost the game. So, we try to put that emphasis on there, but I think it's really important when you're in a competitive game that you win the third quarter.
Gotcha.
Thanks, Brian.
Greg Busher?
Greg Bisher
had chimed in. I saw you had responded to him, but he talked about the 1-2-2 ball press at the junior high level. So, coaches, do you feel like that's a useful tool to teach kids to get them ready for high school ball? The 1-2-2 press, ball press.
I like how Miller's getting all the questions. This is great. But
I'm deferring. I'm not. You answer.
I didn't say I wanted to answer, but the 1-2-2 is not something that is bad. I think that's something good. That's something I do at the varsity level some. And but if I'm running a younger program, I'm going to fall back into a half court man probably out of it, and I think that would cause some problems with some of those younger teams that you're playing against. And anything that you teach defensively, I would want pressure involved at the younger level.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Steve. Go ahead.
The guy a student taught under told me the 1-2-2 or the 3-2 at the junior high level is the great equalizer because usually it's not the head coach. It's going to be like an English teacher or something coaching junior high, and they're not going to know what to do against a 3-2. So it's the great equalizer at the middle school level.
I think that when it comes down to that level, that 1-2-2 or that 3-2, it does keep the kids active. And I think that level, sit in that zone, put your hands out and just kind of guard dead air. It doesn't help you at all learning how to play defense, I don't think. So I think, that 1-2-2 is definitely something that's very successful at our junior high program that we do a lot of. So, I think that just keeps some kids active, doesn't like them stationary, and kind of keeps them moving and trapping and trying to get kids to understand the difference between the two.
Well, Coach Mitcher is one of the people that I was fortunate to work underneath as an assistant. And congratulations, I know he's watching, for being selected to the Missouri Basketball Coaches Hall of Fame this year. So he's had a pretty good run, and I do know that he's big on the 1-2-2. And I think, like you said, the great equalizer is a good way of putting it. Because as long as you get some pressure out there. I think that's really important, especially at that level. I know a lot of coaches at the junior high level like to run the 1-3-1, but it pretty much becomes who's the bigger kids, and you take advantage of the kids who are bigger against the kids who are a little bit smaller.
Mm-hmm. Next question is Travis Banis, who's an assistant coach and alum at St. Pius, coaches soccer there. He says, regarding basketball, do you think kids today, particularly quote-unquote bigs, like playing in the paint? What little I got to watch Pius play this year, it seemed like their big guys took a lot of perimeter shots. So, Jason, I'm
Miller?
sorry, but again, directed at Coach Miller, but we'll open that up to everybody. So is people less likely, big guys less wanting to play in the paint, or what do you think?
Everybody shoots it in our drills. So, it's everybody's green lighted at least to start the year for us until I tell you you're not. Yeah, but I mean, it's you don't get a lot of press for banging inside, I guess. So,
we don't see much of the true post player anymore, do we?
No.
Well, I could give an example of one of our kids. I mean, Moreland really isn't tall to be a post, but I mean, he's most successful as a post. And, sometimes like Coach Rissler just said, sometimes you got to give some people the red light. And, I love people taking threes, and that's the only shot I wanted to take as a kid. But, sometimes you gotta get those guys refocused in what they're good at. Not everyone can hit the 3-pointer.
Is there a certain shooting percentage where you're going to tell a kid you got to stop if you're shooting below, say, what's the number? 25%, 30%? Obviously 30% you're delighted, but anything below 20?
Well, no, because I mean, I've had some shooters that started out the year shooting in the teens, but they won me some games later on this year, and you could probably even guess what kid that is from this year. And I just think it depends on the kid. It depends on the coach, and there's a lot of things that go into it.
Gotcha.
What do you think, Miller? Because I know Riley took a lot of them, and that's what I was waiting for. I wanted to see what you had to say, because I mean, maybe you could hit them. That's what I was curious to see what you'd have to say about that.
I wish you'd hit that last one in that last game.
Let's don't bring back those memories, right?
That might have been
the game.
That might have been the one where you wanted him to go and shoot inside.
Right.
Yeah, I would have liked. I'm not going to lie. When we were announcing that game, it was hard for me not to say I wish he would have pump faked and went to the baseline. But mean, he's hit plenty of threes, so I see. Believe me, I've witnessed many of them go in against us. So, I understood why he took it.
Honestly, I just wish that somebody would have made the last damn shot on our team that game. So I just had to leave it at that. So, to answer the question, I mean, I don't think a lot of guys like to play inside as much as they used to. I mean, it takes a guy who just loves to grind and be real physical. And not a lot of guys, even I as coaching in schools that have football, a lot of football guys don't like to grind either, and some of them do and some of them don't. But I think most kids tend to be on the perimeter, want to be on the perimeter now more than they ever have, obviously with the 3-point line, influencing the game. And to have answered Travis a little bit, a lot of times we had our guys on the perimeter. We either started them out there and try to move them inside, or we did a lot of different things. But, I'm the weird guy who still likes to have some mid-range stuff. And again, we'll leave that for another maybe for next time too.
There's nothing wrong with that mid-range. That's what I was getting at with Moreland, man. He can hit that mid-range shot, and there's some room for mid-range, I think. A lot of teams don't expect anyone to shoot that mid-range. The Denny kid, Eli over there at Crystal, he would hit that mid-range jumper too, and there's a lot of guys that can do that.
Coach Blair?
I think that a lot of players don't want to play in the post because they feel like they don't get the ball. So they don't play. They want to go outside because they want to get the ball. So I think that, with that question being asked, I think a lot of post players don't want to play inside because, hey, I'm not going to get the ball unless I get a rebound. So I want to go out there and shoot it from the outside just like everybody else. So I think the 3-point line and the 3-point shot has affected post play tremendously. Now, the way we play, and Coach Rissler and I both play that kind of same concept, hey, we're going to shoot that 3 and hopefully got a post player down there that can rebound and put back to the layup, So I think that's the big key. I mean, you don't see a lot of teams, play that 3 out, 2 in and post the player up and pound the ball inside and let them go to work very much anymore. So I think that has a lot to do with it.
That post-entry pass is something that I've found that kids have really had a hard time. And I guess you just take it for granted because, that was something that we used to always be able to do. You just fake high, throw low, fake low, throw high. And there's a lot of times where we either had Riley or we had Xander. I've had kids in the last few years, a Colton McAnally or somebody who has somebody posted up and we just can't give them the ball. And a kid will just look at it and be like, I have no idea how to throw the ball.
I totally agree, Coach Miller. I don't know how many times that Moreland would get frustrated. He'd be posted up perfect on somebody, and my guard wouldn't even look in there. I mean, he'd be posted up perfect. Just get him the ball. And that's a big thing that's hard to instill in those kids. I mean, I had a kid several years ago, Matt Kaufman, and I said if he didn't touch the ball on a trip, then we were going to have a timeout or I was going to pull some people out of the game. So you don't see that too often anymore. And it's hard to get kids to focus on getting the ball inside.
Right.
So good answers, guys. Good answers. We got another couple questions here. First up's from Zach McVeigh. Coach Rissler, we're going to start with you on this one. 10 seconds left, and you have to go full court to win the game after the opponent makes a basket. Do you call a timeout or do you let the kids play?
A good question, Miller.
Usually we just go. We have stuff in place where they know what we're going to do. We call it chop action. I stole it from Bill Self. It's just a dribble handoff right into a screen and roll on the right wing. So, we would put my best kid in the right corner and,
But I know who that is.
Yeah. So, we had 2 ball handlers this year. So, Kylie Taylor would attack. You can score. You can do it in 4.5 seconds, I think. So, either way, we have something in. We have the old school Valparaiso play that they beat Ole Miss in with a couple of different things that we can do. We made 2 years ago, we hit 2 buzzer beaters, one against Stillville and one against against Stillville, we called timeout and ran a set and somehow executed it. And then we did it against Cuba also at Cuba and we're able to just go and play. So we actually did it both ways, but normally probably call timeout. But I mean, with Carly in the game, just give it to her and let her go. I mean,
I like this Apocalypse Now lighting system you've got going on at the house there, Coach.
Looks like he's in a Star Wars movie.
Very film noir.
Right.
So,
he looks like he's in a Star Wars movie. It's awesome.
Let's take it. I want to hear from each of the coaches here. So, Coach Blair, other team scored. They're up 1, 10 seconds to go. You have a timeout in the pocket. What do you do?
I want to try to get to half court and set up something, call timeout, and have a play. But we do have certain plays that we do run off the full court. But I like to get the ball back to half court and with maybe under 6 to play and have an opportunity to set up a play at half court. We do have 3 or 4 of those in our back pocket that we like to use, and we did that this year. I pray Ray remembers this, but against Grandview at their place with the conference title on the line at the end of the regulation, had a wide open 3 for Taylor in the corner and just rimmed it out. But we had a set play up for that, and that's kind of something that that we did. We called timeout there, got the ball half court, and set up the play, and it worked perfectly. Just the ball didn't go in the hole. So, but I think that's I would prefer to get the ball half court and call a timeout.
Gotcha. Jason, Coach Jarvis?
No. Well, I've been burned on both sides of this. Called the timeout and it didn't work, and not called the timeout. I mean, with Jordan Duncan out there, I probably am not going to call a timeout. I'm going to get the ball to him and see what happens. And, we did that against Grandview. We ended up losing. He got a wide open three and he just missed it, and ended up losing that game this year. But I don't think me calling a timeout would have changed it. I mean, he got a wide open look. Me and Miller have talked about this several times. I'm anxious to see what he has to say about it because, it just depends on your kids, I think, and the flow of the game. I mean, it could be. I mean, I don't know if Riley would agree, but just the flow of the game. Sometimes you feel I'm not calling a timeout here because I know we're going to score, or sometimes you're like, "Ooh, I got to call timeout and settle them down." So I just think it just depends on the game.
Well, I mean, I think if you got a lot of time left, then I think you run it down, you call it timeout, and honestly, if it's a situation where they score and like 10 seconds, as Zach said, I just think you just gotta let them play. And I think if you call the timeout at half court, I think that allows them to set up their defense.
I agree.
And I mean, again, like you said, I've been burned both ways. And you always sit there and you go back and you're like, I should have called a freaking timeout, or I didn't call a timeout. I should have. But, I think at the end of the day, if you tell your kids this is what we're going to do, or Coach Rissler, by the way, I need you to email me what you do so that way I can win a sectional game. Make fun of Jason's jab at me.
That's funny.
But no, I mean, I think if you continuously work on those end of game situations and you can do them in real time, I think the timeout really sets up the other team. And I mean, I look at it as my fault. I should have had our guys a little bit better prepared for it. And sometimes you're lucky and they can do some on the fly, or other times, they just don't execute. I think if you allow the other team to set themselves up or set up a defense, they could run a 1-3-1 at half court and trap you, and it doesn't matter what you just ran because now you got to burn another timeout because now you're playing basically from behind to see what they're in, and then they're going to switch, and then it's a game of chess. I think that puts too much thinking. I think you just got to get the ball out. Let's go, and let's try to get one quick and get to the rim.
Let's flip this. You've just driven, and Coach Miller. We just saw this St. Pius X in Steelville a month ago, I guess it was.
Oh boy!
Did we play a game against them?
So I think so. The ending in some dispute in certain counties in the state, but
all I know is that gym was rocking.
Yeah,
that gym was rocking. So you come down, you score, and you go up. They don't take a timeout. Is this something that a coach? Do you ever work on that scenario in practice? Like, we've got to defend 90, 96 feet for the last 10 seconds, last 15, 5 seconds, whatever, coast to coast. Is it just they understand the defensive principles? How do they know to defend that?
Is this to me in particular?
Starting with you, but for everybody.
Well, obviously we left the kid wide open, so we didn't.
I was wondering. I knew that was coming because I'm going to say they didn't defend it very well because they got the shot off.
Between the kickball and the double drop, I'm kidding. We were going for the ball. No, I think again, it's just one of those things where in that situation with that gym as loud as it was, I could have had a freaking megaphone and I don't think anybody was going to hear me. So it was just like hurry up, get back, and God, please let this work out. And we're fortunate enough to make the plays.
Gotcha. Everybody else? Anybody else want to chime in on that?
Well, I'm sure Miller practiced that at some point, but when it comes down to like the atmosphere of that gym and the time that happened, I mean, you're talking bam, Bollinger makes that bucket, and then boom, they're in and they're going the other way already. There ain't much Miller could have done, to change that situation. And I wouldn't want to call a timeout. Then you set them up. So, I mean, it worked out for him. And, I would probably have played it just like he did.
I mean, we did not. We don't practice leaving people wide open on purpose.
I didn't mean it like that.
Yeah.
Well, each of you had experienced teams this year with and successful in a number of different ways. So does part of it just depend on the kind of personnel, the level of experience you've got out there on the floor?
I think plays a huge deal in it. I think that makes a big difference when it comes down to it. If you got kids that you can trust with the ball in their hand to make the decision, make the right decision, and if you got maybe an inexperienced point guard that's going to get the basketball and go down the floor and not know what to do with it, I think that makes a big difference too. So I think the experience alone makes a huge difference in what you want to do. And also, what does the other team have? Every situation is different. Do they have a timeout left? Did they call a timeout? Do you change what defense you run? It's just, you could do both ways. They may change what defense they run, and then you set up a play against a man-to-man, and all of a sudden they throw a zone out there at you. So I think that changes a lot of stuff.
Well, in the scenario we're talking about being ahead because you just scored, the pressure's all on them. You're just hoping to get a stop and hoping it rattles out. So, if you're ahead, I think it's a lot different than when you're behind and you're the team that's trying to score. And so, there's plenty of ways that you can go about it. And like I said, every game, it's just going to be different, and what you feel on your kids and what's went on the entire game. That game was so electric that we're talking about with Miller and Stilwell, and it worked out for him.
Gotcha.
Got a couple of finished questions here. We're gonna try to wrap things up real quick, but we've got let's see, two questions. Now, you guys didn't get to see this one, but I'll just make it short and sweet because I think we're going to probably cover this in the next couple of weeks. The shot clock. How many people are for? How many people are against it? Don't all jump at once now. Right?
I will say as a fan, I'm for it.
Yeah.
But that's from that point of view.
Mm-hmm. Jarvis.
No, man, you're coming to me, really?
Yeah. You're right next to me. That's why.
Well, I'm not sure if I'm for it or against it yet. College game. I don't know. Because I've held the ball before and ran 2 or 3 minutes off the clock to win a game. So
right.
And then I've been behind 20, and if a shot clock was there, they couldn't hold the ball. So there's a lot of discussion that can be had. I was kind of waiting. I was hoping you weren't going to ask me first.
Coach Rissler.
As a biggest team in our conference, and I would be in favor of it because I think that year in and year out, I'm going to have more talent than other teams, but playing up as a class 3, playing class 5s and 6 next year, it takes away, a lot. I don't think we could have competed with Jeff City or Kickapoo this year. We just had to run and, just play normal, because the more possessions in a game, I think the higher talent, the deeper team will probably win every time, usually. So I think it limits what a coach can do, especially a smaller, like class 1 and class 2.
Right.
So,
Coach Blair.
I have to agree with Coach Rissler there on that. I think that we play up and we play a lot of, class 4 and 5 teams. And I don't think we would have beat Union that night. That we played them up at their place and gave them a great ball game and ended up defeating them on their home court. And I think that was because, we slowed the game down. We took them out of their kind of nature of how they like to play and made it into kind of a half court game and forced them to do some things they didn't really weren't expecting. And I think that was the difference. So I honestly think that, it kind of depends on who you're playing too. At that state. But I think it takes away from maybe a little bit of the coaching side of it. Like Coach said, I think I can't game plan for, I want to play, Coach Rissler. I want to keep him in a half court and make him, defend us, but not put up 45 threes or whatever number he puts up. So I just think that changes a lot, and that takes his game plans completely out of the picture and makes it really a little bit different, I think.
Gotcha.
I will say something though. I mean, they're going to have to play with the shot clock in college.
Yeah.
They're going to have to play in. I mean, if they're lucky enough to go on beyond that, so it's something that needs to be discussed at the high school level. I'm not sure what side I'm on yet.
Coach Miller.
And
Push. It's like this. If it's there, then we'll have to make adjustments.
Yeah, everybody's got to adjust.
I mean, it's just the way it is. And if it's not there, and if there's an opportunity where I can, use it to my advantage, like Coach Rissler and Coach Blair said, Jason, I think that's what's going to happen. I might take a chance to delay if a team likes to push the ball, and if a shot clock's there, then there's going to be some things we'll have to do a little bit different. Obviously,
I'm not going to lie. Against Pius, I would have loved to have had the shot clock so he couldn't sit there in the offense that he was running and run the clock. I mean, I would have liked him to have to shoot it in 24 seconds, but you can sit there and run a systematic offense, and then you can take time off the clock. It's hard to get back in the game when you're down 20.
Right.
Well, the other thing is it makes it to where you have to have a lot of different, either your sets have to be really good or your athletes are going to be really good, because I mean that's what it's going to come down to, a lot of execution. Or hey, we're just better than you, so we're going to go to the basket, or make plays to shoot the three.
At the high school level, I think it's going to be the biggest problem you're going to have is who's going to work the shot clock. How's that going to work? Right. I mean, seriously. I mean, we have enough problems finding people to run the clock, the scorebook, and everything else.
Right.
That would be another added thing to the plate of the schools to have to figure out to make sure that someone ran the shot clock also.
Well, that's one of the things. I'll just chime in real quick. I'm not an advocate of it, and I'll tell you why. Trying to call because your spectrum is wider than the screen as far as the talent is concerned. If you've got a team that's a brand new team of, walk-ons, so to speak, if you will, they're not going to be able to adjust to that until maybe halfway through the season. So if it's a deal where they're walking in, whether they're a sophomore, junior, senior, doesn't matter, and it's their first year, to get them acclimated to a shot clock right off the bat, I think is almost nearly impossible. That's my thought.
And
Matt?
That's one of those things I think we're going to touch on in depth at an upcoming show, teaser.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get an AD or two in here to talk with this, because there's a cost component to it.
Right.
That for a lot of high schools, this is a big deal to add this in.
Sure.
I was amazed when St. Pius X, we added timers for the clocks for football, the 30-second clock.
Yeah.
And when I saw what the costs were for that to get that installed, I was, wow, that's no $50 thing. So to do that and retrofit these gyms, and in some cases have to retrofit the scoreboards as a result, and then train the people. One of our comments on Facebook just
maybe get us a new scoreboard, Riley.
That's right.
Boy, a nice Pepsi scoreboard would look good.
Right,
so
right.
We got
you're dang right. A Pepsi scoreboard would look good.
We got another question from the Facebook feed that I'm going to pull up here, and it is, why do you not see? Well, there it is. Does anyone run the triangle offense? Why do you think college and NBA teams have gotten away from it? Now, I'm going to answer from an NBA perspective. It's who ran the triangle offense? It was Phil Jackson. Well, he had Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen, and then either Harvey Grant or any number of different players as
Bill
the third member of that. And he'd have Cartwright or Luke Longley or Tony Kukoc, any number of elite players. And then in LA, of course, he had Kobe and Shaq, and then whoever the third could be for that, Van Exel, any number of guys were really good. So I think part of it's just the personnel that are needed to run it. But have you ever seen it run at the high school level? Would it work?
The decision making would have to be really high level basketball IQ to have somebody like Kobe or Michael, to run everything around. I mean, you would it's all reads. It's all read based.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be really difficult to teach that.
So elite decision making and elite athleticism need to be kind of the point person for that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, if you can pick your lineup, you say, all right, he needs to go here, he needs to go here. If you can handpick your personnel, maybe you could do it, but I know I couldn't do it at the level I'm at. Maybe I've maybe had one or two girls with that high of an IQ. Then, I got some that can't even run, a pick the picker out of bounds play.
Well, number 24 would have been able to do it.
Yeah, she can do it. She's a rare one though.
There you go.
Guys, what about it?
Well, I think the thing about the triangle is number one, you got to be able to teach it just like anything else. You can't just go and pull it from a clinic and say, hey, we're going to run the triangle. I read Phil Jackson or Tex Avery's book, and now it's, okay, I know what I'm doing. So you really need to know what you're doing, number one. Two, you got to have other kids who understand it, because as simple as it is, it's very complex. Like Coach Rissler said, you got to make reads. And it's hard enough to get kids to make simple reads. Well, the thing is, too, is not only do your good players have to do it, your role players have to be able to come in and pick up and be able to do those things as well. So maybe in college or in an NBA where you have better role players who can do things in the high school level, we really don't. Once you get into the bench, you start seeing the reason why some kids are on the bench, because they can't make those reads. I mean, it's just that's the way it is.
Sounded like someone that had some foul trouble this year. I'm just saying. I don't know.
Are you guys in the same conference?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And district.
And district. Yes.
I get you now.
So,
his stud, if he got in foul trouble, was a different story, but never did against us.
I did see the Steelville into the film game, and it wasn't good. It was late.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a picture floating around somewhere where the ball's in his hands and the clock said 0.
Yeah.
But I heard Herky has really bad clocks that aren't right because it should have 4 digits. But I'm just going to leave it at that. That's just what I've been told.
It was not good, period.
Okay, so I'm a 1990 graduate. That scoreboard's been there since then.
Oh wow!
That just gives you an idea. It's been there before I was there. And
it's still
Pepsi at?
Still a very functional scoreboard, guys.
Right. One of the things that I noticed also, though, is the horn is a little bit late after 0 too. So people were asking about the horn, and I'm like, I've known the horn's been late for years. So
the refs were right on.
They were right on it. We saw it too. Riley and I saw it too.
Right after it was over, it was done, and it was good.
Yeah, Schutte and Riley and I called the game.
Not good.
We called the game. All three of us had a real good angle of the clock, so it was off by probably at least a couple, 2, 3, 4 tenths of a second at least. So,
I had a good angle of it too, because I was calling no basket.
You were doing
Let's bring up the video replay right now.
No.
Pull the video replay of your dad.
Oh gosh,
that's awesome.
Tell him and the players to get off the court.
That's great.
It was great to watch.
Yeah,
Ray, we got a really good question on here. Do we want to wrap up with that, or do you want to
let's do that
next week?
No, let's do that.
Okay, so our last question, actually, Coach Miller's comes from Coach Ed, one of your assistants. But hey, he's asking a great question here. So,
because he probably didn't ask me already, and I can't give him any advice.
So Eddie, for those of you that aren't aware, he was the head coach of the freshman team at St. Pius, and assisted with JV and varsity. And he played for you, I believe, Chris, at Grandview. Is that correct?
That's correct.
All right, and a police officer in the St. Louis area, and we appreciate his service and what he's doing, especially these days. But here's his question. I found a lot of pressure of managing a game, trying not to second guess myself, even at the freshman level. As coaches, how did you guys become better at managing a game? Trial and error through years, or certain things that you took into consideration from the get-go? So, Steve Rissler, 2nd place and 4th place finishes in state the last 2 years. We're going to start with you.
That's a great place to start.
I mean, I still second guess myself every day. It's hard for me to watch the Stratford game. We had a 14-point lead early in the 3rd quarter, and we ended up losing, and you always question yourself. But I feel like I have prepared myself, with knowledge. My knowledge base is pretty high. Always trying to improve. I'm always looking at something online or reading successful, coaches stuff like on Twitter now, especially. I'm constantly trying to improve. Hopefully I'm a better coach each year. This is my, what year is it? 12 is my 12th year. So, it's still hard though. There's nights where I don't sleep that well, so Zeke Will comes into play. It just, I think it really helped me to be an assistant under some high level people, or, even, just to go in and, to get to know college coaches or people that have been successful and just try to copy what they do. I steal everything basically. I went to Mizzou and when Norm Stewart was still there. So, I read his book and tried to go to his practices and kind of watch his style, just continue to keep trying to get better, improve your knowledge base, and something I do now that I didn't do early is I have play sheets on the bench. I have things to remind me of, late situational things. We have a bunch of plays printed off, that we might not have in, but if the situation occurs, I can call a timeout and say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and just try to be as prepared as possible for those late game situations. And you have to practice it. Yeah. You have to practice fouling. You have to practice trying to get a 5 count. You have to put yourself in different situations to where hopefully your kids can recognize, all right, we're in this situation, so we need to do this. But so I guess, that's what I've done.
Okay. All right. Stuff. Coach Blair.
I go a little bit off of what Coach Rissler said. I mean, I'm always talking to other coaches. I'm picking their brains constantly. I mean, Coach Miller, Coach Jarvis. Coach Rissler, I picked your brain a couple times as well on some stuff. I think the most important thing is not to think you know everything. And I think if you're a young coach, go in with a big mind and say, hey, I'm willing to listen to anybody that wants to help, and the other thing that I talk about is trust your assistants. I mean, you have them on your staff for a reason. And I think I really have done that. I really trusted my assistant last few years that I've gotten, Coach Bohr. I mean, he's very knowledgeable, a stat guru. I mean, a scouting guru, if you will. I mean, does a lot of good things. And, and I'm not afraid to ask for help. I'm not afraid. Hey, what do you think? What do you ask? Don't be afraid to ask for help, because in this position that you're in, if you're afraid to ask for help, you're going to struggle. And so I look at it that way. I've been around some very fortunate people that I've been underneath over the years. And my dad was a high school basketball coach for 30 years. And so I've been around it, and I've seen a lot of things happen, and seen a lot of things go and coaches come and go that have success or maybe didn't have success, and what did they do that caused them not to have success. So I just think just being around the game, asking questions, not being afraid to ask questions, but more importantly, I personally think that having a quality staff underneath you is very, very important in the success that your program is having.
Good stuff. Chris Miller.
Well, and Coach Eddie, he's talked to me quite a bit. I said everything earlier in jest, because he's always wanting to know what he could do better and what he can. I think that's the sign of somebody who really wants to be good at what they do. And I think Coach Blair hit the nail on the head. You got to go into not knowing anything. I've been doing this for 16 years now, and I don't know everything. I'll be the first one to admit that. And there's a lot of times where I'm going to mess up, and I just own it. Yeah. I take full responsibility, and I don't ever blame the players for losing. It's my fault. I didn't have them prepared. We weren't ready, and I think that's the best way to be about it. And just always making sure that the kids know that you got their back. Sometimes that means that you're coaching when you're down 35, standing up. You're still talking to them about where to be. You're not just sitting there feeling sorry for yourself. Whether you're winning the game and you got your third string of kids in, you're still trying to coach and tell them what to do, and that way they'll never stop playing hard for you. But then at the same time, I'm the kind of guy who's going to go to bat for my kids if I don't feel the game's officiated very well. But I think that goes a long way to really getting the kids to really, know that you care about them, and the relationship that you build with them when you're in practice, where you can yell at a kid and probably talk at him like he's a dirty dog, but that kid knows that you got his back, and then that's just some of the stuff that I think is really important from the people that I've worked for and the great coaches that I've assisted underneath. That's the thing that they do, is they've always built great connections with their kids, and that goes a long way.
Finally, Coach Jarvis.
Well, I've had the opportunity to be an assistant coach for a long time, and I learned a lot being an assistant coach. And one thing that I've learned, and all three of them talked about it, but Coach Buddy, who is my assistant coach, he was a head coach at Pius, head coach at Trinity. I lean on him a lot. I'm lucky at the junior high level. I have Coach Goodwin down there, and he's been doing this for like 24 years. He's
been around a long time.
Yeah, he's old.
He's as old as I am.
And I would
love you,
say
Sean
that
Goodwin.
if he was on here, and I take any advice I can from them. I mean, heck, there's been times in the game I've turned around and said, "Look, what do you have for me?" Because I'm lost. And it's good to have those type of guys around you, and that's how you become a better coach. I mean, heck, I've picked Coach Miller's brain. Me and Coach Blair have shared plays. I run some of his stuff. He runs some of my stuff.
You both run a lot of my stuff. Get some better stuff.
Well, evidently I need to. Maybe I need to be running some of Coach Rissler stuff. But I mean, I've been lucky enough to be around basketball my entire life. Both my brothers played. Coach Breeze from R7 coached me back in the day. That's how old he is, by the way. And
Coach Breeze, an upcoming guest.
Bring him up. Coach Richardson at Crystal, we do it. I've talked to him. I mean, I try to talk to as many people as I can to try to improve what I'm doing. I've been around basketball all my life, but I didn't play college basketball. I played college football. So, it's just, you got to reach out to whoever you can. I'm hoping, heck, me and Blair had planned to go on a coaching clinic this year. I haven't been on one since I've been at Hergy, and now we're not going to be able to go on a coaching clinic. But those are things that you can find. You can talk to people. Just pick as many brains as you can. Find, even if you get just one thing from that person, something you can use. And I mean, I've gotten something from everyone on this board except maybe Rissler, because I've never really talked to him. I've watched his number 24 kick some butt, but other than that, the rest of these coaches on here, I've gotten something from, and if you're a young coach, that's what you got to do.
Yep, good stuff.
I'll put on there real quick, Ray.
Sure.
No, I think that the big thing with young coaches that are just getting started, simulate yourself around people that you trust, because most people that, if you can trust them, they're willing to give you advice. They're not always selfish and think, I know it all and I'm not afraid to tell you. And I think that's the most important thing is put yourself around people you trust, because they will have your back. And there's multiple times in situations where, even in the summertime, we're going playing in a shootout somewhere. And, I'm more sitting there talking to the coach on the other bench and just saying, hey, what was that you just did? Picking his brain or whatever. And, he may do the same, or she may do the same. So
don't surround yourself with people that are just going to say yes to you because you're the head coach.
Yeah.
And that's something me and Coach Buddy, I had to work out a little bit, because he's total opposite of me. All right. And so I had to tell him, I said, look, dude, when I'm screwing up, will you please smack me, punch me, whatever you got to do, get my attention so that I change it up. And now he gives me a suggestion, and I put it right out there. I mean, if he's telling me it, it's going to be something that's going to work. And I'm not going to lie to you. When we played, we won our district game this year. If it wasn't for Coach Buddy, we wouldn't have won that game. I went to him and said, what do you think we should run defensively? And he's like, run that 32 that we ran a couple years ago. And he goes, I think that's going to shut Bourbon down. And I said, all right. And I'm not going to lie to you guys. We made that decision 20 minutes before the game started because we weren't sure what we were going to do. And me and him have been talking back and forth. And we finally, we'd practiced it, but it wasn't like something we ran normally. And he's like, Coach Jarvis, I think this gives us the best chance to win. And I said, all right, Coach Buddy, I'm going with what you say. And it sure as heck, it threw them completely off. They thought we'd sit in our 2-3. And you got to trust the people around you. It's taken me a while to understand that. Blair was a big part of me getting hired over here at Turkey, I believe. And me and him, we talk all the time. Ken Jones, who I worked with at Crystal for 10 years, we talk all the time. Pick every brain you can.
Good stuff.
Well, I picked some brains, and one of the brains I picked was a guy in internet radio, and he said, try to limit your show to 1 hour and 45 minutes, and we did that just now.
We're at 1 hour, 46 minutes, and 40 seconds. Not bad. Not bad.
So, Ray, I think I'll hand it over to you.
Yep.
This looks like a good way to end it there. Great answers to that question. Thanks, Coach Ed. Yep. And again, thanks for what you're doing and your service here in the St. Louis area. We really appreciate it.
Good stuff. Coach Rissler, thanks so much for being with us today. And good luck to you next season. And I'm sure we'll catch up again sometime.
Yeah, and tune in every week and ask the questions.
Absolutely.
Love hearing some questions that you have, man.
Good stuff.
And hold these guys accountable if they come up with some line of, that doesn't make sense.
Some line? What are you talking about here?
Right. Good stuff.
Hey, I don't coach. You guys say whatever. I'm like, yeah, that sounds good.
Wait a minute. I've watched you help coach.
There you go. Awesome. Well, that's Coach Steve Rissler and all of our folks over here from the Coach's Box. I hope you guys have had a good time tonight, and we're going to do it again next week. We'll probably be looking for another coach or somebody to get on here and rough up, so to speak. But we appreciate it. Not too bad for session 2 here, I guess, or episode 2 for us. Before we take out of here real quick, we want to say thanks so much for watching, but also don't forget, Thursday we will be showing our Main Street Sports Show. Jeff Whitener and I, we will be having Earl Austin Jr. and also Jim Powers. Both will be on our guests up from the St. Louis area. Make sure you tune in Thursday at 7 o'clock. And if you haven't heard, we have ourselves some pretty cool new outlets, not only just Facebook, YouTube. We're broadcasting to all these places right now. Facebook, YouTube, Periscope, Twitch, and our brand new Roku channel. So if you're interested in checking out our Roku channel, this is how you get a hold of it real quick. And let me find it. Here it is. You have to go to this website here called videos.tkdssports.com. We've partnered with TKDS Sports, folks in Dayton, Ohio. Great folks, and we appreciate having them on. We're probably going to have them on kind of a special video segment and maybe a couple of other live streaming outlets around the world, maybe even not even in our country. So I'm looking for that, maybe put together about a 30-minute show for that maybe this week or next week. So for all of us here at Livestream STL, we say so long. We will see you Thursday at 7 o'clock for our show called Main Street Sports. We will see you all then. Have a great night.